Well, here we are at the Writers UA conference, actually, nowadays. And it's 20 years since I never met you until today, and yet I had met you 20 years ago.
Online.
This is again Kiyooka. And about 20 years ago, I did my very first professional, that means paid for it, WinHelp project. And I had no idea how to do context-sensitive help. It was, you know, I'm a writer, not a programmer, and so this client had 9,000 context-sensitive topics that they wanted in this project. And so I found out that your product, RoboHelp, allowed me to create what the programmer needed for these context-sensitive IDs, created automatically. So I became a fan of RoboHelp like that. And so had to get to find you, to get you to help me out, and found you on the CompuServe forums. So do you remember those days?
I certainly do. CompuServe was, I guess, like a weird proprietary internet, right?
Yeah.
A predecessor to
bulletin board type of thing.
Yeah, threaded messages and email. I think that would be where the bulk of our interactions prior to today took place.
Right. And I also helped you with the sort of beta tested you. I was your guinea pig on something called multimedia WinHelp. Love that of course, rich media we call it now. But multimedia has always been something that we knew was coming. Tell me more about this MPEG encoding, because everybody's trying to figure out how to get video to good quality that moves fast and streams.
Yeah, my experience with MPEG encoding was with MPEG 1 and MPEG 2. And these are international standards that are ratified by broadcasters internationally. And MPEG 1 never really caught on as a standard. It was used, a certain amount was used in video CD, which was a weird predecessor to DVD. And then MPEG 2 was used in DVD and is also used in over-the-air high-definition television. So what Apple's doing, and most of the stuff on the internet, is H.264, which is a subset or an aspect of the MPEG 4 standard. So the standards body keeps advancing the state of the art by taking all the research that's available and trying to make it so that everyone that's innovating can participate in basically a giant patent pool. So that's what MPEG is a patent pool. People joining together so that there's one standard instead of fragmented standards. So the TV people have been doing it much longer than the computer people, so they have a little bit more of an established discipline or a method of doing things. So, because I mean, we couldn't have got an entire nation to switch to digital television without a really good standard. So that's, I wasn't part of the standards body, but I was working from public standards.
Well, we're kind of bouncing around here, but we just were pleased that you were able to help us draw a winner, TechCom Suite, to the lucky winner here at Writers UA, and at the time when you were sort of saying hello to the folks, you were talking about the sort of personal pride you felt to sort of be a part of helping so many people make a living. And I must say, we have even more of those folks here. We have, to my left here is Rick Stone, who is a RoboHelp instructor, as I am. And to your right, we have Peter Grange, who's come here from United Kingdom, a RoboHelp extraordinaire expert. So what do you guys think about, how long have you been working, Peter, with RoboHelp?
I was trying to work it out. It's got to be about 13 years, 13, 14 years.
Did you start out with RoboHelp for Word, which is the WinHelp format, or did you go right into HTML?
Started out with Microsoft Help compiler.
Ah, okay.
I was given a job to write the help, told them I knew nothing about compiling help, don't worry, Mick will teach you. He's leaving on Friday. He'll teach you before he goes. That was the deep end, and then I got into RoboHelp in a job that I got subsequently. Rick here helped me an awful lot getting into RoboHelp. It all snowballed from there.
Great. So you met each other on the RoboHelp forums.
Yep.
Rick, when did you start?
I started with RoboHelp in 1992.
There you go.
Word version 2.
We worked together, yeah.
And I remember eHelp had that sample project, and then as that sample, you created that hyperlink that said, "Click me right here, Kiyooka." And literally, from that point forward, I was smitten. Never again do I want to return to paper documentation.
Right. The whole concept of hypertext.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was really magical. Of course, green underlined then, rather than blue underlined. And I noticed in your bio, you were talking about hypertext, that you were involved in some kind of hypertext engine even before RoboHelp, or just the whole idea of how did you get into the idea of hypertext?
I was interested in hypertext before WinHelp 3 was released. So I was aware of it as a kind of a research topic and something that was emerging. And so when I saw WinHelp 3, I was, it was kind of like, oh, this is happening now.
Yeah.
And looking back, I would say the predecessors to Windows Help are HyperCard, and there was another one on the Mac. It was called the Think Reference. Have you seen that?
Think Reference. I know about HyperCard.
Very early product for developers on the Mac. I didn't see it at that time, but I did see it a few years later. But it's very similar to WinHelp, and I'm thinking that maybe at Microsoft, in their developer group, because it was a development tool, someone probably saw it. But it had a lot of the qualities that Windows Help 3 had. It was very fast, like when you clicked on a link, the page came up right away.
Yeah.
Very similar kind of experience, and this was on the black and white Mac, so it was all grayscale. So I think that HyperCard probably created the Think Reference, or was the predecessor, and then I think Think Reference probably influenced the help group at Microsoft, because they were chartered with serving Microsoft applications, right? So in the early days of Windows, it was mostly just Microsoft applications. So people creating the SDK tools were really, their customers were the applications group at Microsoft. So those people were cross-developing for the Macintosh and for Windows. So I think there was a lot of back and forth of ideas, mostly probably coming from the Mac in the early days, and then later when Windows was a standard, the other directions.
Yeah. Well, Rick, what about, have any of your students reported anything to you about, how they got into this whole idea of hypertext? And
I didn't really have students until 2005, so most of the people I encounter, are totally oblivious to the world of WinHelp, and they're pretty much all HTML help these days.
Oh, right. Yeah, well,
I was a power user for a number of years. I know you were an instructor for quite some time, and you were actually very instrumental in me becoming an instructor, because you did the class that I attended to become certified. You came to Kansas City.
That's right.
Are they still compiling the HTML into the CHM?
Oh, jumps.
Yes.
Do they still do that?
Sure. Yeah, that's a legacy format at this point. Of course, now it's usually
Just
not
a
compiled.
Oh.
Although, Adobe has introduced something called the Air Integrated Runtime, and call a format Air Help. And so you have one distributable, kind of like Chum in that sense, so that it is on the desktop. But what's nice about it is when they're offline, they've got local help, and it's easy to update it. Because one of the problems we have as help authors is, nothing ever stays the same, and so how do you push out the updated content? And you don't want to necessarily wait for your developers of the software to create new versions and for you to have to wait to go along with them. Hey, I have updates of my own for my help system. So it gives the help author more power over, you know, what they're trying to do. After all, they're champions of the user. The developers, I'm sure, feel that everything's so intuitive it doesn't need help. But we know that the good documentation really helps folks. And so this AirHub format is a great idea to keep that updating. And it's got that the whole hypertext idea as well. So.
Air is a cross-platform runtime, is that right?
Exactly. So run on Mac, Linux, whatever has the.
Is it mostly for Flash applications? Or?
No. I mean, it's got an API that will tie into other applications. Flex is sort of the basic main platform. That's another thing. RoboHelp is. You will be glad to know that your baby did not remain stagnant. It's continued to evolve. And it produces Java help, it produces Oracle help, and Eclipse help, and now the new EPUB standard format for the e-readers and the iPads and the Droids and the so everything is you know, cross-platform, and that's the way to go. So that's nice that it's gone beyond the Windows-centric. So that everybody can play. That's nice. And I know that you're now more involved in the Apple platform, is that right?
Yeah, actually, Adobe is to blame for my transition to the Mac. Basically what happened was I had this MPEG encoder, and it was running on Windows, and I developed a plugin for Adobe Premiere, and Adobe wanted to bundle it with Premiere, but they told me that they would only bundle it if it was cross-platform, because they were a cross-platform product. And so my very first Mac project was porting my Premiere plugin from Windows to the Mac version of Premiere. And
Well, we appreciate your taking your time out to visit us and do the honors, and it was good to chat with you.
I would have to say that you may be visiting me, because Long Beach, was my home for like 6 years. So
Hey, that's right.
It's
And,
like you
and
came
also,
to me.
folks can see you at several comedy venues. Ken is now into comedy writing and performing as an improv. So,
Yeah.
man of many talents here.
I don't know if it's talents, but let
Absolutely.
someone like me do it. How
I can't
good
wait.
could it be?
I got to see this. We'll start a new cable channel for you.
We do shows about anything. That's one thing about improv, is you take the audience suggestion and build your show on it. So,
Kind of like hypertext, you keep jumping everywhere.
yeah.
Right?
So if someone suggested RoboHelp, we would do it.
Right. Okay, well, we might try that next time.
RoboHelp.
Well, thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have you with